Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Your Aunties Could Never, a podcast for cool aunties and uncles everywhere, where you hear no nonsense, straight talkings from the chest. I'm Auntie AK, and I am here with
Auntie Nana.
Auntie Sade.
and
and cousin Steph.
hey, welcome, cousin Steph. Guys, don't worry, we have not replaced Auntie Farah. She's actually back. She's in town, and she'll be joining us. Business call, so she'll be joining us soon. So, yes, welcome, cousin Steph.
Thank you.
How are you all doing? How's your week been? Are you good?
Yeah, I've been good. It's been quite a nice laid back week so far. Yeah, actually can't complain this week, which is rare. So it's been quite good.
How about you guys?
Good. I had a good day today, and I pitched something for a lot of money today, and yes. I don't know if we've got it, but doing the experience, yeah, it was.
I'm excited like we've got it.
Say it again.
I'm excited like we've got it.
Yeah, we've got it.
I literally
existence.
I literally said when any of the aunties win, we all win, because that means I get free dinners, I'll get to go shopping, all that type of stuff. So we need you to win so I can be winning. So
yeah, yes. We've got it. Yeah, all good over here. Yesterday was pretty tame. We just had a takeaway, so nothing crazy for Valentine's.
But yes.
Yeah, it was just all right. All right. I can't really complain. This is what our 21st Valentine's, or even 22nd. So,
Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I mean, so if you don't mind me asking, so do you make the effort as well, or like, are you just waiting? Not waiting, but like, do you kind of like, yeah? Does Mr. Nana get like? Is it on him?
Basically? Well, I mean, why are you showing me up? Yes, I chill. I don't try and do anything.
Okay.
So I can't even complain because I never planned anything either.
Okay.
Yeah, so it wasn't. We've had really good ones, but this one was super chill. Like, it was dinner in our flat, like in the living room, just eating.
I actually almost forgot that it was Valentine's Day yesterday. I did nothing. I went to work and I went to the gym. I did see two cute guys in the sauna. That was it.
I love that.
Okay. In the
sauna. This isn't a setup for a porno story. I'm just saying.
It really sounds like it, though. I'm not gonna lie.
No, it's not often that you go in the sauna. It was quite, busy. There were people peppered around, and I looked to my left, I looked to my right. There were two. They weren't friends. One over there, one over there. Cute.
Okay.
Love to hear it.
If you can't find me, I'm in the sauna waiting to see them again. Cousin Stephanie, how was your Valentine's?
My Valentine's was very quiet. I just spent it in my flat most of the day. But I guess it was like a special Valentine's because it's the first time that I've ever celebrated it, or ever, with a partner. And so, yeah, it was just really low key. I got some flowers and a candle and like some chocolates and stuff. And because like the relationship is long distance, so I really appreciated the fact that he like went out of his way to like order all of it and have it delivered and stuff. And I'm not really big on Valentine's generally because I was single and bitter, and so I used to watch other people. I would be like, oh, that's really rubbish. But like, it was a nice feeling. So moving forward, I don't know if it's something that I'll do or we'll do every year, because I think we're both quite low key when it comes to it. But like, for a first time, it was really lovely. Felt very special.
I think it's cute. That's very, very cute. I'm also bitter about Valentine's just because I'm salty, but it's okay.
It's all good, man. It's all
I'm
good.
happy for everybody else who's enjoying. That's very cute. My daughter's boyfriend did a very cute thing for her. And my daughter and her boyfriend bought me chocolates.
Oh,
that's very sweet. I love that.
Sweet.
I love love, you know, or maybe I love the commercialization of love. I don't know, like, but I just love people receiving gifts and like going on fancy dinners and doing special things for each other. I just absolutely love it. I didn't do anything though. Like I was just at home. What did I do? I was watching Euphoria. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Very, probably not to watch.
It's a very anti-love story.
No, it's really toxic love. I think that's what that's promoting. Do you know what I mean? It was a bit intense. But yeah, I finished it now. So yeah, I'm up to date. I'm up to date kind of thing. Yeah, there's a lot going on. So yeah, that was my Valentine's.
I have to prep myself for Euphoria. And now let's get on with it. Okay, guys, get your plates, get your drinks, and let's start the show. We won't have the warm-up game today, but we will have it next week. Auntie Sade, who are you welcoming to the family?
Right. So this week I am welcoming the original South London baddie, Miss Naomi Campbell. That's who's coming to the family. I don't think she's been welcomed before. So I'm just saying, you know, a shout out, a spud even to Miss Naomi, who is currently on the cover of Vogue, British Vogue magazine, with her daughter. And you know what? She had her baby, you know, I can't remember how old her baby is now, maybe about 6 months or so. And no one frigging knew. Do you know what I mean? No one knew. She's like, she's not doctor, she's mine. Keep out of my business, really and truly. And she just done her thing at 50. So yes, come through, Auntie Naomi. We love you. So yeah, that's it.
We love Auntie Naomi.
Yes. I'm adding in Auntie Farah now.
Okay. What were you going to say, cousin Stephanie?
Could you tell that I was going to say something? I mean, yeah, no, I've always loved Naomi, and I'm so happy for her. Like, I did realize that the baby had like 1B hair, so I was a bit like, did she purposely make a choice to have a mixed race baby? But anyway, that is a conversation for another day, and frankly, it's none of my business. But it was just something that I clocked. I was like, the baby's hair is very Caucasian, but you know, it's all good.
Can't even lie. I zoomed in as well.
You see?
I zoomed in as well. Yeah, I did. I wasn't going to mention it, but I zoomed in and was like, I don't know. You can't tell when she hasn't shown the face. I was like, I don't know.
I think that Auntie Naomi is one of those women that we will rally around and support whatever decision she makes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that, I think
and then that's it. Yeah.
But I definitely zoomed in myself. But that's it.
That's it.
Auntie Farah, welcome.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you, Auntie Farah?
I'm all right. You know.
Welcome back.
I'm okay.
I'm
okay. I'm holding it together. That's what I will say.
That's good.
Okay.
We missed you, and now you're back.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Let's get into it. Let's get into what have you heard for the culture. Usually we split them all out, but together we'll unify because we got a guest and we've got to get to the juicy parts of speaking to cousin Steph, Annie. Do you mind if I might say Steph? Do you mind?
Oh yes, no, that's no problem at all.
Okay, because very familiar because you're our cousin. So yeah, cousin Steph.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some news. We got some culture going on. Like we mentioned, Auntie Naomi has shown her baby on the front of British Vogue. We've got Miss Black History Month talent and pageant show has planned in Jamaica, let me specify, has banned contestants who bleach. We've got Prince Andrew has reached an out-of-court agreement with Virginia Giuffre. Very shocking breaking news that's happened just now. Clara Amfo has shared her story of self-love, getting her fibroids removed. Elon Musk has been torturing monkeys. Beyonce has been criticized for her latest Ivy Heart shoot. Sierra and Russell, her partner, apparently left Drake's party when Future came out on stage. The internet is very bothered about that. Kanye is continuing to be petty. And Snoop buys Death Row alongside the news of the Pepsi halftime show at the NFL thingy, American football. I don't care. But Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, and the Queen, Mary J. Blige, came out on stage for 12 minutes during the infamous halftime show. Everyone's talking about it. There's a lot to get through. We won't get through it all. What do you guys want to talk about first? Oh, and Christina Dix had a big payout once she left. You know, the boss of the Met, blah blah blah.
Okay.
She had a big payout. Okay, guys.
The halftime show first, I think.
The halftime show. Okay, so whose story is that? That's anyone's cake. So basically, yesterday was it Sunday?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
It was Sunday. Okay, so the NFL, if those of you like American football, it's the big final game between, you know, all the playoffs, whatever it's called. They had their halftime show. Now, this halftime show is infamous. You've had the legendary Whitney Houston intro it. You've had, oh, actually, no, she introduced it, but you've had Michael Jackson perform, Prince perform, Beyonce perform. It's epic. It's career-breaking. It's a career-defining moment. And the big news was that Dr. Dre has come out of performance retirement, as it were, to bring out his West Coast signees and proteges and things, aside from Mary J. Blige. I don't know where she fit in this mix, but she did.
And 50.
And who, sorry?
50. 50's not West Coast.
And 50 either as well. That's what I forgot about his.
No, but
yeah, but then
He
I think
produced
the way
music.
yes. But it was the way she's framing it, like the artists were West Coast and
West Coast. It was like a West Coast thing, but then 50 and Mary kind of came in. I don't know where they fit in. However, they were all there. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, 50 Cent, and it was 12 minutes of epicness that everyone was excited about.
I'm going to stop you again.
What?
I'm going to stop you again.
What did I do?
Eminem's not from the West Coast, so I don't think it's West Coast.
No, but he was signed to the label, right?
Yeah.
I'm freezing.
Yeah.
I was saying that Eminem is not from the West Coast. I don't think it was West Coast. I just think and his massive
people.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, they all came. Everyone excited. It's been a big build up. However, I don't know how I felt about it. What do you guys? Did you guys watch it? What do you think? I have my thoughts. I'll start with Auntie Farah. Did you watch it? What do you think?
I did watch it, but I thought it was 14 minutes, not 12.
Auntie Farah's being this producer.
I am today. My link said 14 minutes, but I don't know. But I watched it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the blackety blackness of it all. You know, okay, Eminem was in it, but I did enjoy like the blackety blackness of it all. Like I enjoyed the fact that, you know, you had Snoop doing the crip walk on big NFL. I liked it. It was good. It was interesting as well. Like, I think my favorite was Kendrick, in all honesty, but I'm a huge Kendrick fan. But I just thought his performance and the styling and the dancing and just how they put everything together, you know, it blew my mind. I thought it was like that was amazing for me. Everyone else was okay. Mary was okay, you know, apart from that big scream at the end. But Mary, I love you. You can do no wrong for me. Know this. But that was the only bit that I was like, what's that about? And the memes since then have been quite funny. Yeah. So, I quite liked it. Dr. Dre is Dr. Dre. You know, I like seeing everyone in the crowd getting on and enjoying themselves. I think that was probably like one of my favorite things as well about it. But yeah, I don't have a bad thing to say about it. There have been some dead out halftime shows, like, you know, where I don't even care to watch them. So for me, this was good. It was good. 50 looked like 150.
But
I think the memes there were a bit sad as well, because it's like that was like 2000 and whatever 3 or something, like, or the 4 when he came out and he was like all like going to the gym every second of the day. So it's like, leave the man alone. But I don't know, it just made me laugh.
You didn't have to do that. That was my thing. Like, why did you even have to do? I get it, but no, like, come on, son. Because the thing is, it was like he done the first line and then there was like this musical break and he could get down, panned away, and then he's standing, just like, no, babe, you couldn't. You didn't have to make that moment live at all. Like, I just watched clips on social, but I really like them. I don't know why people didn't like it as much, but maybe you had to sit there and watch the whole thing. Also, as well, for us in the UK, we would literally have to stay up till like 1 a.m. to watch it. So it's an effort. So I get that. But like, I thought it was cool. Like, and you know, I've seen people on their timelines wishing that, you know, that they were, you know, of age when this music like was new. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I was like, do you know what I mean? I really love that that's like part of our era. And also Eminem taking a knee, I thought that was like big news.
Especially if they told him not to.
Yeah, but Eminem's gonna do what Eminem's gonna do. Like, he's always been a bit of a rebel. I don't know if it was like super performative or whatever, but like I didn't mind it. I don't really mind Eminem personally anyway. So yeah, I thought it was very black. It was very male though, to be fair, but it was very, very black. And I love Kendrick. When Beyonce performed, didn't he, kind of thing, and he was epic then as well, kind of thing. He's always, where is his next album? Like, please hurry up.
Right?
We need that. But yeah, I loved it.
Cousin Stephanie.
Yeah, I thought the performance was really good. I too am a huge Kendrick fan, so I just think his performances and his shows are always so dynamic and just always gives you something to think about. I really love the fact that they crip walked on the NFL mains. I'm sorry, I just think that is such a mood. I think that was amazing. I'm a big fan of Snoop as well, so I enjoyed him. Dre, yeah, I thought he was cool. There was a moment though when I thought that they were going to have a 2-pack hologram come out.
Yeah.
When he started doing the when he was at the piano and what's the song that he started playing, and I was like, oh my gosh, is there gonna be a hologram? But it didn't happen. But yeah, no, that was cool. 50 Cent, I thought, you know what, I really like that performance. I also really like how he looks now. I didn't like the amount of body shaming that I saw on Twitter and things, but I guess because of what I do, I'm always very attuned to when people do that kind of stuff. But like, yeah, I was a bit like, I mean, he looks fine. He's locked down, and I guess, you know, like everyone, a lot of people have like put on a few pounds and stuff, and he was able to, like, I think on Twitter they had the behind the scenes, or like a moment when he was getting up onto the rails to do his part while everybody else was performing, and the way he just like got up with ease, like he was able to lift himself up, and yeah, he's still pretty fit and stuff. And I quite like, I quite like he's quite cuddly now. I've always liked him, but now he's like,
Steph was tantalized.
I was, I was just like, yeah, his arms are just, yeah. Anyway, let me
in slow motion, and I saw when there was a bit where you could actually see when he was getting down from the thing. So it's like, credit where credit's due, but it did make, so I'm not even going to sit here and lie. Some of the memes made me laugh, but some of the memes made me laugh about everybody. There was something about everybody. There was something about Snoop smoking, and there was a guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's lost a fan now, but he was being sarcastic, and someone was like, "How do you not expect Snoop to be smoking? Why are you surprised?" And it's like, Uncle's going to smoke.
Auntie Nana.
I watched it live from, I can't remember her name, Puffy's baby mother, the one that's a stylist. Her name is yes, yeah. So she was filming, and I watched it that way, and so it was. I was more interested in how the crowd was going than the actual performance. I've seen snippets of the performance, and I loved Mary J. Blige. I just love her, like just watching her same moves and her just moving about. I was like, yeah, she was definitely my favorite, and Kendrick as well. But overall, I did think the hype before it made it overrated. I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe they were going to do like a medley, or it was going to flow a little bit better. It just felt unnecessary that there was 5 people on there, and really it should have just been Mary J. Blige's night. I think she should have just had the spot. But yeah,
I like the staging though.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I like the staging.
I felt like.
Sorry.
No, go on. I felt like same. I felt like it was overproduced, and in the end, the hype made it. I was underwhelmed by it. It was great to see everyone together, but then I started to think about the politics of it all. Like, has the NFL fixed its issues with black coaches and players taking the knee and protests? And then I started to be like, was it worth it? All this hype, and Dr. Dre. Problematic character. I don't know who the ins and outs of his life. What we know about him is what we know in the public eye is problematic as it's presented. So supporting him, In the individual performances, yeah, Kendrick, obviously, Kendrick's like my guy, and Mary J, obviously. But again, the two songs that she's picked, I was like, of all the songs, it could have been so many other songs. I wish she went 411 rather than those tunes.
I just don't think she could have though.
And yeah, I mean, she could have, but and then also, it was good to see Snoop and the Crip walk in. I don't know. It just became. I don't know how much power we had in that performance. In the end, the whole thing, in the whole grand scheme of the NFL and the issues that we've had with it, was this worth it? Was it all worth it? What did we achieve? What did we gain? Is it a win for Black culture? I'm not sure. And so my mind went politics on it, and I just couldn't get away from that. I had to watch it, of course, but now I'm just like,
But that isn't it the whole NFL though? You know what I mean? Like the whole NFL is like, why are we watching this? Why are we supporting this?
Yeah, exactly.
Why is this whole thing good for Black culture? Do you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think. What people want with the NFL is basically they have to scrap it and start again. You know.
Yeah.
And you know what I didn't realize as well, and maybe I'm just late to the party. And I think it was Mary J. Blige. She got interviewed, and I didn't know that they didn't get paid to perform, and I didn't. Yes, and I didn't know that NFL is actually a charity, and they don't pay taxes. Like I was just like, what? What is this?
What kind of scam? What? I didn't know that.
When people talk about it being like the you know, like the biggest plantation and stuff, I'm just like, oh yeah, for real.
Wow.
But that's why it kind of made me look at it different. And even all the Black people that are there, it was so good for. But if it wasn't the NFL, I might have been a bit more like, yeah, like because of the politics behind it all. I was just like.
But I don't get it because they get like I'm sure like Super Bowl weekend is when advertisers like they get so much money from the infomercials and stuff. So why can they not use some of that to pay the performers? Like charity, you know?
Do they get it or do the networks get it?
What do you mean?
Does the NFL get the money from advertising or do the networks get the money?
The network.
They get the money.
That's true. It's probably the networks.
Yeah, making the money from the advertising.
They would license it, no? So the NFL would have to do a deal with the network, so they would get some of the money.
Yeah, there's that, but it's not advertising.
Yeah, the advertising, but also they have their own network as well, so they do have their own platform, so they get money that way for sure. Do you know what I mean? So
it's a murky business, man.
Wow,
murky. It's murky. And on Eminem taking the knee, the black performers performed and the white rapper took the knee. I mean, my head spun, to be honest.
Seriously, but some people
like the least we could do. I think, like, you know, do take the knee, do more, like pay lots of your money. You've like built yourself up off of like Black culture anyway. So take the knee. That's the least you can do.
Like, really. Show a nipple or something. Like pay back to Janet Jackson. Like, you know, be an ally. Show a nipple.
Okay. On that note, moving on. We have what other stories we got? We got Cressida Dick has resigned, or was she pushed? Prince Andrew's reached out for court settlement. Jamaican Black History Month talent and pageant show will ban contestants.
So we go to Prince Andrew, as that is breaking news. This is
breaking news. This is breaking news. Guys, what do you think? He's settled. I'm pissed. Auntie Nana.
Go on.
Okay, that's like a real admission of guilt. Like I wanted it to go the whole hog. I wanted like the news to come out. I wanted all the salacious details. I wanted the day in court where all of the details would come out. Settling to me is like, you're guilty, and now we're not going to hear all of the details because she can't talk again now. I'm also disappointed in her for starting this, stirring us all up and taking a settlement. Doesn't that kind of prove what his legal team were saying, right? That she's in it for money?
No.
No.
We don't know what kind of threats are being made in her direction.
Yeah.
They can kill princesses. Who knows what they can do to bog standard average people?
Allegedly. I allegedly agree with Auntie Farah, what she allegedly said.
Allegedly. So, boy, you never know.
I wanted him buried under the jail.
Yeah.
I really wanted to see him buried under that jail, and it's just a bit frustrating that it's kind of ended this way, in that he kind of just gets to get off scot-free. Like, this royal family, man, it's very frustrating, because it's like we kind of all allegedly know that he's allegedly like guilty, but like I want to see them shamed. That's what I want. That's what I want. Outrightly.
Well, I think they are. I think he is kind of shamed, right? He's lost all his titles. He's losing. I think he's probably still going to lose, right? Do you know what I mean? I don't think he's not the same. He's not the same Andrew as he was, for sure. So I think, like, if he's had to sell like properties and things like that, maybe this is bankrupting him. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I just think obviously more should happen to him for sure, but like, I don't think he's the only one either, and more heads need to roll, to be honest. And yeah, like I couldn't see this going any other way than a settlement. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm even surprised they even got to this point. Like, I'm actually surprised, because I thought he was going to get off completely scot-free and not have to answer to anyone. But yeah, so yeah, I think, yeah, good. And you know, whatever amount she's getting, what she's been through does not compare. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really doesn't compare at all. So it's the very little justice that can be done. But her life is forever changed. Do you know what I mean? And like, you can't. There's no amount of money that can compensate that at all.
Before I go on to you, Auntie Nana, it said a statement in the letter to US Judge Lewis A. Kaplan said the Duke would make a substantial donation to Miss Giuffre's charity in support of victims' rights. It added that Prince Andrew had never intended to malign Miss Giuffre's character, and he recognized she had suffered both as an established victim of abuse and as a result of unfair public attacks. The Duke also pledged to demonstrate his regret for his association with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein by supporting the fight against the evils of sex trafficking and by supporting its victims. Auntie Nana, what's your response to this statement?
Now.
I know, because she spoke. That's why. Sorry, my bad. Because you did say something earlier on. That's why. Auntie Farah.
Firstly, that statement is the biggest pile of hot flaming poo I've ever heard. Like, nonsense. Like, come on. His legal team did set out to make her out. They said she was a slut. They said that she was a money grabbing fucking whore. So how the hell can you now take back your talk? They said that, oh, why is she bringing this up anyway? She signed an NDA with Epstein. Why are we even talking about this? They said all of that. At what point did you say that you felt sorry for her? Yeah, she got him by the short and curlies, basically. And maybe that what's her face that just got done the other day, this might all be tied in with some shit that she was going to talk about too. So maybe this is why he decided, I'm going to settle. You know, like, I don't think he was ever going to go to jail, because it was all a civil case anyway. Yeah. But his laundry would have most definitely been aired. He's been shut down by the rest of the royal family. They've been basically telling him, humble your ass, you know. His titles have been taken away, like you said. Charles has apparently said some stuff to him about don't come around me, or, you know, don't make yourself seen too much. Did. Do you know what I mean?
Hey. Absolutely. You're not wanted round here.
Well, when Charles is looking like the best,
you know what I'm saying? Imagine. Charles. Nah. So Andrew had no choice but to pay up. It was, trust me when I say, this was the last thing that he wanted to do, you know? But I think that good on her if she's milking him for everything that she can get from him, because as Auntie Sade said, it's never going to make up for the stuff that happened to her. Yeah. It's never ever going to make up for that. He sat in an interview and said, oh, actually, I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time. I had a disease that meant that I didn't perspire. Like, are you all right?
He's not well. He's really not well.
It's like actually mentally unstable, allegedly.
Allegedly. Auntie Nana.
I went, dude.
You?
Yeah.
Yes,
I didn't hear you. Did you say at the beginning? My bad.
Yes.
I'm
And
sure.
then he
I
told
my
you
thoughts,
before,
innit?
oh,
I said them.
Oh, I can't hear. Sorry, my bad.
And
Well,
I've been away for a while, but you know.
that's that. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. That's that on that. That's on that. Okay, cool. Well, then, Uncle. Well, I was like Uncle Andrew. How dare I? Andrew is.
Hashtag not my uncle.
I'm about to say, I said, how dare I? Andrew, boy, settled, and that's it. Is what it is. Okay. So what else we got? We got Kanye. I mean, I've got this thing about talking about Kanye, but he seems to come up.
I feel like we need to talk about Kanye.
Why? What's going on? I mean, why?
What do you mean? Why? What do you mean? Why?
Because now he's talking about now it seems like threats against Pete, and he's counteracting threats against
No.
Pete.
And I'm glad I'm here today to defend my boy, because no. Let's be clear. He never made no threats against Pete.
No, I know.
Allegedly, people have been making
Kinda. The
him
picture, Auntie Farah.
Actually,
No, Auntie
you
Farah. Auntie, the picture
He said
that
he'll deal with him himself. We don't know in what way.
Did you see the picture that he posted
He
alongside
will
that
deal with
comment?
him himself. Is not a threat, no.
He said
The picture. Sorry.
Didn't he Didn't he say
wait.
he was going to give someone his colleague money to?
No. He said he'll give his colleague money to stop sitting next to him. The guy from Saturday Night Live.
And how are people supposed to take that?
Can I say something?
Hold on a second. We were talking about physical.
This is bullying.
We were talking. I'm not saying that he's not bullying, but we were talking about physical.
Acknowledge that because he's bullying. He's a bully, man.
Boy,
Bully.
Can I just say, Auntie Farah, before you continue, the picture that he posted under the fact that he'll deal with himself was Ving Rhames holding Tyrese in a sleeper hole. Okay,
I saw it. But he's not condoning anyone else doing any acts of violence against Pete or Skeet, as he likes to call him.
Skeet.
He's a
You know what made me laugh though? Yeah, when he showed the screenshots of the messages between him and Kim, he actually calls the guy Skeet to Kim as well. I'm like, he's just a troll. He's just trolling. It's just
not.
It's so toxic, man. It's just so toxic. But
I feel like he's going through like an episode. I think he's not 100% there at the moment. I don't know if he's going through like a manic episode or something like that. I'm quite worried about him, to be fair. Like, I feel like, does he have people around him who are checking on his welfare and, you know, all of that kind of stuff? Like, I understand that, yeah, when your ex moves on and, you know, certain things happen where you're maybe restricted from seeing your kids and stuff, it can be incredibly stressful. But the way he's been moving quite erratically on Instagram and stuff, I think, I don't know, I just wish he had people around him who could like just watch out for him. Not to say that like he's like super unstable or anything, but I know that he has spoken about mental health in the past and him having him being bipolar, I think. And so I don't know if it's like a manic thing that he's going through at the moment, but it's coming off as quite toxic, with like sending flowers to Kim and all of these kinds of things, which are quite love bomby and, you know, things that you kind of have to watch out for. So
I think it's
God bless, man. God bless.
I don't think he's going through a manic state at the moment, because I don't. And there's been times when I'm like, this dude definitely needs to get checked on. But I don't feel at the moment that he is. I think that he's just being a little bitch, basically. I think that's what he's being.
I don't know if we can ever know.
No, I know. You can't ever know. There's times when he seemed totally out of his mind, and he's not been out of his mind. He's been fine. So, what
is clear is that he does have people around him, and they haven't been able to help him. So they in turn then start to distance themselves because they can't help him. So until he's in a conservatorship, to be honest, like, because that's the direction where it seems like it's going in, if he doesn't pull it together, that he's going to be relieved of his free will. Do you know what I mean? It might be, it might not be, but at the moment it's like you're posting messages, you're saying things that are clearly not true, that you can't access your kids, and then you do have your kids. Like,
but how do we know that it's not true? Because it was the day that he said it was the birthday party that he
no,
said.
no, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about the Super Bowl. So he wanted his kids for the Super Bowl, North and Saint, and he was saying that he couldn't have them, and then he did have them. So it's just like, do you have to go to that extreme every single time? Like, he won't sign the paperwork to relieve so Kim can be deemed as single. Do you know what I mean? These are all kind of really toxic things. So if he is happy, and I'm pretty sure there are people around him saying this to him, I don't believe he's in a complete bubble. Do you know what I mean? But he's just not listening, or he's not able to listen because he's going through an episode. So until the law steps in, I think we're just going to see much more of this, unfortunately.
But like you said, how do we know that he's going through an episode? We don't
know. I don't. That's what I said. I don't know. We can't say.
Auntie Nana.
I agree with like all of you, you know. I go back and forth on it. What I do know is what he's doing is quite exemplary of somebody who is being stalked. Like, everything he's doing is pretty much stalking Kim. And if this wasn't Kanye and we wasn't watching it, and one of our girls was telling us, he is showing our messages to his friends. He is sending me flowers.
Exactly.
If I say no to something, he is going to my family to get my wishes overturned. Would all be like, you know what? You should probably consider speaking to the police about this.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then buying the house next door to her. Like, it's all very predatory.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when he explains things, I'm a bit like, I kind of see where he's doing, but it's still toxic. I kind of understand him a little bit as well, but overall, it is like, isn't that what a narcissist would do? They can explain their ways away if you're just talking to them and you don't know what their victim is thinking. So watching it, I am like, no, this is really, really off behavior, and, you know, peace and prayers to them. I
definitely think it's toxic. Definitely. You know, from as far as it goes as his relationship with Kim, I think his behavior is definitely toxic. I said that from the beginning. Like, who wants that type of shit? When you're done with someone, you're done with someone. And I said ages ago, Kim's done with him, and he's going to have to get to grips with that at some stage or another. He's going to have to get to grips with that. But I think, like, yeah, I don't know. I kind of wish that Pete would shut up as well, though, because no one focuses on the shit that he says. I don't think he makes it any easier when he goes on Saturday Night Live and starts talking shit too. I don't think, you know, I think both of them need to respect Kim and her feelings, because she's probably the only one that isn't coming out and saying too much, because she knows them both and she knows what they're both like, you know. I don't know, it's kind of mad for Pete to sit there and say you should take your meds when he's been off meds himself and had episodes, and you can only decide how certain medication works for you. I don't know if he's got the right to say stuff like that.
He might be one of the only people that really understands.
I was about to say that. You know.
As I said, certain meds act differently.
I
wouldn't necessarily say that Kanye should take his meds.
I heard you. I
just need to reiterate
it. Serious.
I was saying the same. I was going to say the same thing. Like, of all the people, if someone's on meds, then meds to meds can talk, meds to meds talk. And I don't know who started. I feel like, from my positioning, who started the backbiting? So did Pete start teasing Kanye on SNL before Kanye started coming for him? So to be honest, for me, it'll be like, if he's defending himself, then he has every right to, especially if someone's going for him.
I think Kim's appearance on it kind of like stemmed from that.
Yeah, okay.
I think he was quite involved in the writing of some of the sketches.
Oh, okay. So that's the thing. So there's who bit first, and then who's defending themselves and whatever. I think that the encouragement and the support, because what Kanye's also been doing is sharing the tweets and support of him and stuff like that. So I think everyone involved in liking his posts and stuff like that, giving him the attention, it's just feeding the beast, poking the bear. And I think that's where the public should not be. I mean, we've gone past that. Society will get involved, but we need to stop liking his posts and supporting everything, because we only get a perspective that we don't have the full story. We don't even know Kim's side of things, don't know Pete's side of things, we don't know Kanye's side of things, outside of what we're being presented in the whole world. So what everyone, I think, should do, stop liking the post, stop stop commenting, which is impossible because we're feeding a beast that we don't know anything about. People saying that Kim, taking Kim's side, taking Kanye's side. I agree that if it was one of my friends going through whatever Kanye said, I'd be like, listen, girl, you need to
run.
Yeah, far. It's not funny. I don't think it's funny to me. I think it's like, this is a lot, whether he's on his meds or off his meds. His behavior.
I just think as well for the kids. At the end of the day, the main thing is like the kids are going to see all of this shit. That's who I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The internet, shit survives forever online. They're gonna see this. It's not no way to behave. Yeah, you're not together. Like, let's all be decent about it. So that's my main thing. What's interesting about what you said about humans and liking all this toxicity online and things like that is like what I've noticed is in the last 3 days, his social media has gone up by like 1.5 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Through Kanye's.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
crazy.
And it's probably fueling this fire. I do think there is a conversation around like people who have these types of conditions, and especially when they have a platform, and when it seems like they're out of sorts, like how that is actually really managed. Do you know what I mean? Because we could be watching someone's like live demise. Do you know what I mean? That's unfortunately what we could be watching, and that is horrible. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's just really difficult, because then if that person is also a narcissist or chauvinistic, or do you know what I mean, just a general arsehole as well, it's really difficult just to separate what is the mania and what is just their personality.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. I think we'll go maybe one or two more and then move on. We've got the bleaching. We've got.
Should I just do comments real quick?
Oh, actually, yes. You people in the comments. Sorry, guys. Let's get the comments.
Me says, please tell Kanye that we are tired. This your Kim. We told you. You were warned. You didn't listen because of love, but now you want to weaponize the community in your fight. And also says, real friends would take away his phone and speak to him properly and let him know this behavior is not okay. And moreover, it isn't a good look for his kids to see.
Yeah, there we go. All right. So, Elon Musk torturing monkeys. Clara Amfo talking about removing fibroids. That's an interesting. I didn't hear that. Nana, do you want to explore that?
Okay, so she put a post up. I think this was maybe Friday.
Was it yesterday or Friday? Yeah.
I think it was Friday that she had the surgery. I think I saw that. But it seemed to like pop up for me yesterday as well. So that's probably the algorithms. But she had surgery. The name of the surgery escapes me for a second, but she had fibroids. I think there was a few of them. One was the size of a mango, the other a lemon, and a few the size of grapes. And she had been suffering with this for like 5 years.
Wow.
I have a few friends that have had their fibroids removed, but also just having heavy periods for years. Like I'm talking like it was maybe 15 years of knowing they have heavy periods, that they dealt with it, they were always sick, and then eventually went to the doctors and found out that they had really big fibroids, but had never really gone and got that checked out. So I just wanted to know if you guys had any stories, if you had suffered from the same thing, and if you know what the symptoms are as well. Have you had yourself checked out?
So I have fibroids currently, and I only found out about them 2017 when one of them exploded inside of me. Yeah. So since I started my periods, I always had really heavy, incredibly heavy periods. And it would go on for 8 days. So my cycle was like 8 days of really, and so like every time I had my period, I had to use because I was too scared to use like tampons. I couldn't use them. So I used like the night, like the always, like the night pads. That was the only ones that I could use. And so I got put on birth control, and my periods lessened to 6 days. And then I remember like I was at work, like in 2017, I was in the office and I had period pains, but it wasn't my time to it wasn't that time of the month. And I was just like, something is not right. And so I kind of was monitoring them over the next couple hours to the point where I had to tell my boss that I had to go home or go to the hospital because it was excruciating. So I remember got an Uber because I couldn't take public transport, because at the time that I left, I was hunching over because I couldn't stand up straight because of the pain. And then got an Uber to my local hospital, and I was telling them that I was having these really terrible cramps, and it was happening like every 4 or 5 minutes. And I don't like to draw attention to myself. I really don't. But when I was in the hospital, I was screaming. I was on my own. And every time it happened, I would scream. And then I started hemorrhaging on the floor. And they left me in the emergency, in the reception, for 4 hours before I was seen.
No.
So I was bleeding out on the floor, and everybody was coming over to see if I was okay. The receptionist was just like, just give us some paracetamol. She'll be fine.
No way.
Yeah. And
What hospital was that?
St. George's Hospital in
Tooting.
Tooting.
Is notorious.
Yes, St. And the thing is, I used to work there as well, like way back in the day.
My mum
Were
worked
you?
Wow.
Yes, I used to work in like the trauma and orthopedics department, like way back in the day. And so yeah, I went to St. George's and they left me there. I kept asking for help, like I'm bleeding, everything was soaked, there was blood on it. It looked like a horror movie. And like, it took one of the other white patients to go up to the receptionist to be like, you need to see this girl because she's bleeding out, for them to come and take me up. So then I was an inpatient for a while. They didn't know what it was. They thought it was like my spleen. They thought it was my appendix. So then they were like, okay, we're going to have surgery to take the appendix out. And I was like, it's not my appendix. It's in my womb area. But every time I tried to relate to the doctor where the pain was, he just seemed to think that he knew exactly where it was. So 2 hours before I was supposed to have surgery for my appendix, a gynecologist came in and she was like, yeah, it's not your appendix. You actually have like 8 fibroids. And so that was when I was told that one of them had twisted into itself and just burst, and had several scans, loads of internal scanning and things. And so I currently have, I've got 8, and like one of them is like the size of a grapefruit. I've got like 2 mangoes in there and like an orange, and like they're really, really huge. And when I went to go and ask about my options at the gynecologist, she said, yeah, Black women are more likely to have fibroids. And then, I kid you not, she said, it must be all of that plantain and yam that you eat.
No,
maybe
she
stop that. She did.
No.
She did. And no, she said it with the straightest of faces. She was like, yeah, you need to cut back on all of the African food. Because apparently plantain has a lot of estrogen in it, which I don't think it has. But basically, fibroids live on estrogen. That's what makes them get bigger. So for me, I've had to cut out soy. So any kind of soy and a lot of red meats, I don't really eat anymore. But basically, she was like, if you want to have a myomectomy, which I think is what Clara had, I would have to lose 14 stone.
What?
And I was just like,
what?
No. That's
wait.
That's a whole life.
No.
That's a whole like teenager. I was like, wait, why? Because there are loads of plus size people who have surgery, especially if they're having weight loss surgery. Like they can have the surgery. She was like, no, because anesthetics, and we might run out of anesthetic, and it might, it was very fat phobic.
Yes. Oh my god,
this is crazy.
So much.
Yeah, she was like, you can eat. Pardon?
She said that you would run out of anesthetic,
and then your heart rate might drop because of the weight. So she's like, you can either have that, or you can have a hysterectomy, or you can just wait and then just see what happens. So I was like, I really want kids. Like I'm 32. Like I would want to have kids. So I was like, I'm not having that. I'm gonna wait. And because at the moment, a really good treatment for fibroids is to have the contraceptive implant in my arm. So that's what I've had for 4 years, and literally everything has just stopped. No pain. Wow. My fibroids, when I went to go and get a fertility check last year, because I was getting really nervous about like, how is it affecting my fertility? They said everything was absolutely fine and that they've actually shrunk because of this implant. And so I haven't had periods for 4 years.
I was going to say, because the implant did the opposite to me. It gave me a period for the whole duration I had it.
It's so temperamental, that thing, but it's been such a life send.
It's been good for you.
Yeah, and so I've just been having that and just trying to watch what I eat with regards to the estrogen bits. But yeah, apparently fibroids is a lot more common in Black women. This gynecologist, I don't know what she's saying about yam and plantain, but nobody's taking my plantain away from me. I can say that today.
Right. And also,
You know what I
mean? Was this St. George's as well? Was the gynecologist from there as well, or somewhere else?
No, so the gynecologist was St. Mary's, around Kingston. Is it around Kingston area? St. Mary's, Queen Mary's Hospital. Yeah.
I'm just so disgusted by everything that you've told me there from the minute that you got to the hospital. It's that black pain thing, isn't it? Like, this is why so many Black women pass away after childbirth, because they're just ignored. You're sitting there bleeding and they're telling you it's your appendix, to the point where they're actually scheduling to take your appendix out. It's just, my mind is blown. And to have the audacity to tell you eat too much plantain and yam, that's the reason why.
You know what I mean? And I submitted a complaint to PALS because I overheard one of the nurses saying, "Oh, just keep her on paracetamol. She'll be okay with the pain." And I heard that specific phrase. Eventually, I ended up going on morphine for 4 days and like kind of being semi-comatose because that's how bad the pain was. But when I heard that nurse say, "Oh, just give her paracetamol, she can handle the pain," that's when I knew, you guys are very, very racist. And went to PALS and everything, had it escalated. I'm still waiting for them. It's been like 5 years. I chase up like a couple times a year to see what their decision is, but it was one of the worst pains I've ever had in my life. It's horrible. They gave me gas and air and everything. Like it was wild.
I mean, was not expecting that response. And
nor was I. Like, but
thank you for sharing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for this segment and our demographic, I actually think that's the best response I could have hoped for just bringing this up, because that's a lived experience. And know quite a few people were very similar. Not necessarily like the hospital and the explosion. I didn't even know fibroids did that actually, but just not actually it being followed up properly, not experiencing getting an ultrasound when you're saying that, like, my cramps are excruciating. It's just always take more medication, wear thicker pads, and the option of the contraception. But not everybody wants that as well. Exactly. So that's and it doesn't work for everybody as well. So thank God it has been working for you. Do you know what size it shrunk down to now?
So I think at the moment they're like this. The nurse, when I went to the fertility clinic, said that they're kind of like the size of like oranges, so still quite big. And I think in the future,
on orange is still that's a good bit of shrinkage.
Yeah. So I think at some point I will think in the future perhaps about taking them out, but the thing is that they grow back, so you can't get rid of them permanently. I think that's one thing a lot of people need to know, is that they do grow back. So my thing is, do I go through the trauma of having surgery only for them to come back a year later, or do I take that risk and then, when I am ready to have kids, do I take the risk and try and get pregnant anyway and see what happens, or do I have to lose like this 50? I don't believe I have to lose 15 stone, but like,
that sounds ridiculous.
That's going to take me years.
You're going to be in minus. I don't understand.
That's what I mean. That sounds. What are they saying? You need to weigh the size of a small child. Like, I literally don't understand.
15 stone is not a small child. That is literally.
No, I mean like. I'm saying, like, what are they telling you? Like, I don't like a. Do they want to get down to a baby?
She didn't even weigh me. She didn't even, because I'm like, so you want me to lose 15 stone, but then that would mean that I'm how much do I weigh them? What, 3 stone? Like 4 stone?
That's what I'm saying. The size of a baby or a small, like, what is wrong with them? I'm really disgusted. I shouldn't even be disgusted, because we hear these sort of things all the time from Black women and how they're treated. Once you go to, it's just, but the level. She said to you, consider it a hysterectomy.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, you can do a hysterectomy. We can start giving you, or we can give you, and this is the option quite a few women take as well, is that they have an early menopause. So they will start having medication, because there's what's the name of the medication? There's a medication that can start early menopause. And a lot of women who are like in their mid to late 30s, 40s tend to take that option if they know that then they don't want to have kids. But then I'm starting to hear stories of like younger girls going onto that option as well, because I don't think that option is well, I don't think it's reversible at all. But she didn't ask my lifestyle choices, whether I wanted to have kids, and all of these kinds of things. And to be given those options, you know, when I was 27 or whenever, it was just like, you're scaring me. You're not giving me any kind of hope at all. And it really traumatized me for a few months, because my worst thing personally is like the prospect of never being able to have children naturally. It's just always been a thing of mine. I've always wanted to be a mum. And so to kind of hear it so with no empathy in her tone, in her voice, she was just like, yeah, these are your options. And I was just like, screw you, man. Like,
and at least you were able to think like that, because there's going to be girls out there that get this, women that get this information, and they just feel like they have no choice, like, you know, because the pain that they're in, they're like, well, maybe I do just go ahead and do that. And they, you know, they might not have anyone around them, or might not, you know, be as strong as you in your conviction of fuck you, I'm going to do what I need to do for myself. It's just, yeah, it's very, very sad.
Let's get the comments.
Supposed to be in the world of cheering for people.
Yeah.
Right. And it depends on how many fibroids you have. Like my auntie had fibroids. She had 88 taken out of her. 88. But they were tiny. They were like grapes. But they were like, they were tiny. But I was just like, so sometimes there are procedures where you kind of have to do it if it's kind of making the situation worse, where it's like unbearable pain every day, then sometimes that is the only option. But if it's not as severe, because with fibroids, for the most part, you can live with it every day. It's kind of like as long as you have the pain relief, it is a thing where, because they're not cancerous, they kind of just live in the womb, just chilling, I guess, being annoying. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you can live with it, then do so, but always just check up every couple of years just to make sure that they're not growing, kind of thing.
Let's get the comments.
Cool. So Natalie says, that's awful to hear about St. George's Hospital. It's my local hospital. I hope they have improved since then, and sorry that you went through that. Shirley says, waste of time going to PALS. They cover their backs. And also says, had fibroids, then hysterectomy. Before the hysterectomy, they gave me 3 injections of Zoladex to apparently shrink my uterus. Long story short, I kept on telling them about the side effects. No one listened. Had to have a mastectomy 3 months later. Sorry, say that again? Mastectomy. Sorry, my pronunciation. 3 months later. Oh my God.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing as well, Shelley. Okoye says the UK loves to have Black women believe that we are more adversely affected by almost everything. Fibroids affects 1 in 3 women in the UK. Black women make up 2% of the UK population, so it's impossible for us to have it more than anybody else. It's just not possible. And also says my plant medicine teacher cured herself of fibroids with an endometriosis. She used a combination of anti-use diet and snake venom medicine. They're over 46. Okay, cool. So there's a plethora of advice online, I think. Do you know what I mean? And also speak to your doctor and your GP as well, kind of thing, if you're suffering from any of these types of things.
Yeah, definitely. Because my thing was going to be what are the natural things that you can do, the holistic ways you can do to get rid of these treatments. So it's definitely something that you speak to your doctor about. And medical.
I went to a naturopath. My fibroids were very small, and I only had 4. And so they were shrinkable, but my doctor actually was like, you could probably sort this out by changing your diet and then seeing a naturopath. So that's what I did. I went to first of all, I tried Chinese medicine and got herbs and stuff, and then I just went on a strict kind of yeast cleanse. So it was just all drinking stuff. And then after I had my child, had another scan, and they had all gone. So there definitely are ways.
Really?
It was like a liver cleanse and colon cleanse, taking out sugar, soy, really being quite strict for a little while on like what I was eating, lots of greens. Spices can agitate bile and stuff, so that also can inflame bits and make it more violent, and because they do grow, like as you said, like when they cut it off, it can come back again. It's trying to stem the growth in your nerves. So there's just lots of things that you can ingest to kind of shrink them further. But mine was so small, it was easy to do. But it's still worth kind of looking into the different ways that you can take various natural things, definitely, because surgery isn't for everybody. Definitely, there's lots of horror stories with surgery as well. So it's like I always think try and go down the natural route before surgery.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you for that.
As well about, sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. I was just saying explore all options.
Yeah. No, I was just going to go back to when you were talking about when you were younger and you had very heavy periods and they lasted for 8 days. And one of the first things they did was put you on contraceptive. Like, I think that is the standard that they do as well, without actually, maybe what they should do at that point is give people a scan and see what's happening, because it could have actually saved you years of pain if they'd looked at it then and then you were able to manage it in many different ways from that age. Because I think like I had very similar periods to what you said. Like, I don't have fibroids, but I had like 8-day periods, really heavy, super painful, used to throw up. And the first thing they did was put me on contraceptive. And I just feel like they maybe need to look at women's health in a little, with more options, you know, rather than being 15, 16 and they're giving you the pill or whatever the hell it might be at that point in time. It's just, just the healthcare for Black women. It's just obscene.
I think I always say the same, like they're so quick to medication and operation, but not looking at natural options as well. I hate that they force those type of things on us. And I'd really, Aquia has said, maybe get in touch with her. She there's all sorts of ways to heal yourself, but just make sure you're informed, and not everything works. Natural doesn't work for everyone. And the typical traditional ways of medicine and healing doesn't always work for everyone.
Yeah, so sometimes it's a combination of both, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it's like they're not treating the whole person. If you're just looking at fibroids as is, it's like separate from the whole person, their whole being, and you just treat that, then they're going to come back again. But if they actually treated us holistically, like you're looking at everything, all of our organs, how is it functioning? What's our blood like? You're probably going to have more lasting effects. But is that adding to your monetary value if people don't have to keep on relying on medicine? It's like, so it's really getting a scope of everything, because they do have the machinery to be able to check you over properly, and then maybe bringing that information to a naturopath may offer another scenario as well, working in conjunction with. I think it's definitely best to look at your whole body in its entirety and not just one part that is showing a symptom, because it could be from somewhere else totally. And it's like, actually, if I just treated this area of me, my kidneys, my fibroids may go. Like, we don't know how everything is all connected, because that's not how they're looking.
All right, guys, thank you very much. If you're just tuning in, this is Your Aunties Could Never, a podcast for cool aunties and uncles everywhere. This is where you get no nonsense, straight talk from 4 cool aunties, straight from the chest, who aren't afraid to say all the things you wish you could say. And we are joined by a very special cousin Stephanie. Hey, and welcome. Just a note to everybody, if you listen to the show via our podcast platforms, please don't forget to write your reviews on Apple Podcasts. The higher our reviews are, the higher and more reviews we get, the higher we get, the bigger we get, and you get more auntie wonderfulness in your lives, serving you all the auntie richness that you need. So please don't forget to leave your comments and reviews on Apple and Spotify. Now it's time for Aunties Get In Your Business. 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 And that's...
I haven't missed that.
You'll see there's 2 salty aunties on cousin Stephanie that don't appreciate my intro.
No, but we do appreciate good music and talent, don't we, Auntie Sade?
We do, and that wasn't it. So.
I love it.
Thank you.
You don't have to lie, Stephanie.
It's fine.
Oh no, I love it.
Thank you, cousin Stephanie.
But look how she's saying it. No, I love it.
So we aunties are going to get your business, cousin Stephanie. And yeah, let's just take it away. I will start. So I'm going to ask you, please, can you introduce yourself properly and tell us what it is you actually do.
Okay, so my name's Stephanie, and I am a content creator that works within the scope of self-love, body image, some body positivity. Outside of that, I also like to do a lot of fashion bits, beauty, skincare, travel, and lifestyle. But what I try and do is I try and wrap all of that with a kind of body positive sort of self-love angle. Outside of that, I'm also a freelance journalist, and I am an author of a book called Fattily Ever After.
Before I go to Auntie Farah to ask the next question, what's your, what do you call yourself in? What do you call that in one nutshell? Do you have that?
Do you know what? I just say I'm a writer. I feel like because I do more writing, I guess. Yeah. Right. If I'm like, well, pre-boyfriend, if I had like a Bumble bio or something, and it has like the occupation on the profile, I always just put like writer, or I'll just say content creator, actually, to make it a bit, yeah. It kind of encapsulates all of the photography / writing and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, because you mentioned body positivity, and you're quite vocal about this. At what point in your life, okay, was it a realization to yourself that being bigger didn't fit in with society's standards of beauty? That just
when I was 11 and I just started secondary school, and I was in the girls' changing room after PE, and I remember that day I was looking around at everyone getting undressed, not in like a pervy way, just like in a, oh, okay, kind of thing. And I just felt this instance of shame because my body didn't look the same way everybody else's did. I was quite chubby as a child, and I just felt so othered and so different. Primary school, I was very carefree, and I didn't really have those kinds of concerns. But as soon as I started secondary school, because I guess I started getting bullied like in the first week of secondary school, it kind of stuck with me in my head. And for the next 5 years of school, I was predominantly bullied because of my weight, but then also my skin color as well. And so, yeah, from secondary school, year 9, I developed depression and was put on antidepressants, and it kind of just ruined my self-esteem and the way in which I looked at myself. So yeah, from a very young age, it was really drummed into me that the way that I look is significantly different, and people are going to be very horrible to you based on these outside factors.
Wow.
Auntie Farah? Or mute still? You're on mute still.
I'm not with it. Sorry. What encouraged you to make a positive move into the limelight as an advocate?
I think so. For me, I think it was definitely starting my blog and being a bit more creative when I was in university. So in uni, I've always been quite creative and I really love writing, but I never really had the opportunity to do it that much. And in uni, I mean, firstborn Ghanaian daughter, I've of course studied law because my parents wanted me to study law. They want me to be, you know how it goes, the whole, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I didn't really have that opportunity to be that creative. And so as a side thing, I created like a little blog where I was talking about very superficial things. So like gadgets and movies and fashion and all of those kinds of things. And then around 2014, I just started being very raw on there. I used it as a diary where I would talk about the thing I hate about my body today, the thing I hate about this body, this diet that I'm doing, and all of these kinds of things. And I would also use Tumblr as well, where I would see images and videos that would encourage me to lose as much weight as possible, to go on this diet, that diet. And after a while, it was like, okay, I'm getting quite a good response from people who seem to identify with how I'm feeling. And it was quite a big thing to be so vulnerable online, so publicly, especially as a Black woman as well, where we are always being told to be strong or coming across as strong and things. And so I started writing a lot more about my struggles with body image, and how I was getting through that on like a week-to-week basis. And I combined that with my love of fashion. And at the time, there were little to no brands that were creating clothing for plus size women. It was terrible. We literally only had like, and no shade to them, like Evans and
I remember Evans.
Yeah, like Marks and Spencer, and all of the clothes were very maternal, and it was as a as a 15-year-old, I didn't want to dress like a 45-year-old, and so I started being creative with my looks, and it was around the time that ASOS brought out ASOS Curve, which was a turning point for me because their clothes were quite current and young and modern, but they did plus size. And so I started shooting looks and ways that I could express myself through fashion, and combined it with still talking about messages of self-love and confidence and self-esteem. And I think it was me being quite open and vulnerable that kind of started getting people to read my blog. And so I combined that with Instagram as well. So curating images and things that made me feel good about myself. And yeah, from 2014 onwards is when the ball started to kind of get rolling with that part. And throughout everything, I've always been working like full time. So all of the blog stuff and the Instagram stuff I was doing sort of at lunchtime, after work, and, all of these like before work, and taking pictures and stuff. And then I've only been full time in content creating for 2 years, or for 2.5 years. And so, yeah, it's still quite a new thing for me to be doing it full time. But yeah, it's kind of been quite
so exciting and so cool though that's been your journey. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
But now you're working, so now you're like self-employed and you're doing this all yourself. What is the day in the life of Stephanie look like? What's it like?
Oh gosh. It can vary. It can vary. So a lot of the time is spent with me shooting. So I'm either behind the camera or in front of it. So I tend to shoot a lot of other people for their campaigns and things if they need help. Okay. I do tend to work with a lot of brands, which is really cool. So I'll get briefs sent in, and then if they say, we want to work with Steph on this shoe brand or this clothing brand, and so I'll work with my photographer and we'll go out on location and shoot. A lot of editing videos and images. I'll also write maybe 2 or 3 articles a week as well, if I've been commissioned to write some stuff. What else do I do? A lot of the time is spent like at Albright. So I'm just kind of like in the workspace, just like typing away. I'm also currently trying to work on a second book. So a lot of it is just writing, trying to come up with ideas for what to do with the second books. Sometimes going to events in the evening if there's something going on, but a lot of the time it's literally just either me with Lightroom or Windows Movie Maker or something, and just recording or editing, or recording and editing and writing and repeat. So a lot of creative stuff.
That's good.
I have to say, like, your feed definitely inspires me, like 100%, to
thank you.
More photos and take more risks and stuff. Like, I love the colors, I love the posing. Oh my god, it's like I've definitely learned some poses, like the confidence. It is brilliant. Like, and I also wonder, like, how do you manage that all? Like, what does work-life balance like look like for you?
It's quite bad actually, because what's developed is that I now don't really sleep, because I used to do it synonymous alongside working full time, from the age of like 21 onwards. I've developed quite bad insomnia, so I tend to go to sleep around 3-4 a.m. every day now, which is terrible. But I find that I'm quite active from about midnight onwards. So I'll start writing proposals, and I also consult with brands and PR agencies as well. So whether it's writing presentations and things like that, and it's so ingrained in what I do because I talk about so much. It's almost like the personal me and like the work me is now one, which is not good, because I do want to kind of have like the separation there. But because I really enjoy what I do, it doesn't feel like work. And that's the problem because it's like I could be at home just like watching TV, but still like typing away. But I'm not clocking that I'm actually working because I'm really enjoying it. And I think those boundaries are things that I need to start implementing, because I'm always like sending emails at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. kind of thing. Like I find it very difficult to switch off. And so for this year, I'm trying to learn how to just switch off and not be up till 2 a.m. sending emails or writing stuff down. So it's fun because it doesn't feel like work, but equally it can be quite a high pressured environment as well if you've got loads of things coming in at the same time, or like deadlines coming in at the same time. So
I think you're amongst friends.
I can relate to that.
We're kind of all like, I think I definitely have to learn how to not start my day at midnight. It's hard because it's but it's so nice because it's quiet at that time.
Yes, exactly.
We all are all definitely in the same boat. So you are a woman who's in the public eye, and women are always being challenged as experts and what we know from what we don't know. So how do you navigate being respected for the work you do as a public speaker, as a model, as an expert of your field, especially when we are discussing, being paid equally to our white counterparts in these spaces, and just being respected for the fact that you do know what you're talking about as a Black woman?
I try not to make myself smaller for the comfort of others. I think it's very easy to do, especially within content creation, because it's such a white field. And a lot of Black creators have had to almost change their personalities or change how they say things or the kind of content they create, because I guess to them, it feels like they'll get more work that way because more white eyes are looking at their work. And so it's like, if you want to work with the big brands and do all of these things, you kind of have to present a certain aesthetic, even as a Black woman. And that's something that I just refuse to do. Like I want to continue to stay unapologetically me, unapologetically Black, loud, and very raw. And I don't like to condense any kind of my content to kind of fit a specific mold. And so for me, I always try to be as honest as possible. So showing the highs, but also showing the lows. And I think one thing that has worked for me is continuously, especially when it comes to the subjects of like relationships and dating and all of those things, I've always been very, very honest, to the point where people have dragged me on Twitter and message boards and forums saying, how can she say this? Like, why is she showing all of her L's and stuff like that? But everybody is going through it in their own way. And like, I guess because I felt so unseen growing up, and I always felt like I was the only one that did this, or I was the only one that looked like this, and nobody else is going through those issues, so I must be the problem. I didn't have that, so it felt so isolating growing up. But with some of the stories that I have shared online, seeing the influx of people who are currently or have gone through the same thing, feeling seen and feeling heard, and being able to exchange stories and advice has been one of the best things for me, I think, because I think with influencers and content creators, we have a reputation, unfortunately, and I think a lot of that is due to the types of influencers that are given the visibility. So a lot of the time it's slim, white, Molly May type women, which is fine. But those are the women that are normally pushed to the front because of how they look. And people forget that there are influencers that are doing like really cool things. It's not all about like mirror pics and stuff. There are sustainability influencers, tech, plus size. There are so many other deeper issues that people talk about online. And so for me, it's just trying to be very true to what I talk about, just to be very down to earth and honest. And I don't want to try and fit into the mold of what an influencer is supposed to kind of be. I just want to be very, just keep to me and what I do.
Auntie Far.
Sorry, I thought my question was the last one.
So I can do this one.
Sorry. I'm not with it today. I'm very, very sorry, everybody in the room. But I've literally just come back and my head's not straight and I'm a bit like this. So apologies to everybody.
It's all good.
No worries, no worries. Okay. Actually, it kind of follows on from what you was just saying. Have you ever seen it like as a burden, or do you get burnout from actually being like one of the go-to people to speak about fat Black women, plus size fashion? Like, does that ever get too much for you?
It doesn't. I think the only thing I think about that is that I wish there were more of us. I wish, especially in the UK, it got to a point where it was like there were barely any fat Black women who were like hyper visible in the UK, and it saddened me because we were there. A lot of us were there, but because of the movements that were around at the time that we were involved in, so like the body positive movement and things like that were kind of taken over by white women, it was the white fat women that were escalated, and they were the ones that were exalted, and everybody else was kind of like left in the lurch, which was weird because it was Black fat women that kind of created that movement. And so for us to kind of be marginalized in favor of the socially acceptable body type and skin color was very wild. And so a lot of fat Black activists and influencers kind of like they weren't as vocal as they wanted to be. Okay. Now, 2021, 2022, I'm seeing a lot more, which is amazing. But back then, it was a lot of pressure because I guess just trolling, you know, I'd be trolled a lot. People will take my pictures and put them on before and after shots and, you know, make memes out of them and things like that. But for me, I just am a gobshite, I think. I just don't stop talking. Like, I have been like blacklisted by brands because I've called them out for not being as diverse or as inclusive or racist or whatever the case may be. And a lot of influencers at the time wouldn't do that because they wanted to keep their contracts. They wanted to keep making money with them. But for me, I was like, I'm not going to compromise my integrity by doing that. So I would be very vocal. And I think I really had to push my way into the industry. And one of the reasons I think I'm still here is because I was very, what's the word? I just didn't give up at all. And I just kept talking and talking and just talking like a talking babe until people would eventually hear me. So, yeah.
Sorry, I have a B question. Just within the space, is there a camaraderie though? Like, is there like a solidarity between other influencers in your space? Like, do you work well with each other? Is there a sisterhood?
Oh yeah, definitely. But it also depends on the spaces. So there's like the fashion space, and then there's like the plus size fashion space, which kind of work and gel well together. The beauty space is a space that I don't necessarily want to be a part of, especially in the US, because it's just a lot of drama sometimes. And sometimes you're just looking from the outside in and it's just like, just stress because it's like backstabbing and this and that and people talking about this person. So we don't really have that much in the UK, but in the US, it's like a big sort of thing where people actually make YouTube channels that document the drama of influencers and YouTubers, and it's wild. So, but within the body positive space, it's everyone gets on, but there's a bit of a schism because it's kind of like the larger fat women, women of color, Black women, disabled women, all of the women who were at the kind of forefront of the movement who started it are on one side, and then you've got the either slim or like
acceptable,
curvy white faces of the movement who have now kind of commandeered the movement that, you know, was supposed to be for a safe space for larger fat bodies. They've kind of taken over the space and now they're kind of like up here. And so while we do get on, there is kind of like a bit of a divide. And yeah, a lot of us don't really associate with the body positive movement necessarily anymore. But from what I can see, everybody's very friendly. Like, I'm very friendly with anyone. I don't go into drama because it's just long. But from what I see, like, everybody's really friendly and collaborates and gets on.
So, obviously yesterday was Valentine's Day, and you're in a new relationship. However, like, you made our person of the week, maybe a couple of weeks ago now, kind of thing. We was really kind of singing your praises. I nominated you, by the way. I'll just say that.
Oh, thank you.
Basically, and one of the reasons was because obviously you do amazing things, really inspiring and everything like that. But we were kind of like, you know, a bit taken aback by, you know, you announcing your relationship. Not that part, obviously, but like the reaction it got, kind of thing, and getting a negative reaction. And I know, so it's going to like a bit of a negative space, but could you talk us through like what happened there? Like what was that about? And
yeah, sure. So I had been umming and ahhing about even posting him on my feed, because I had always said, like, if I was to ever get into a relationship, I would never post anything about that kind of thing. But because I'm not somebody that is used to getting into a relationship, like this is like my proper like first-ish one. So naturally, you know, I was very excited and just very happy and wanted to kind of share that part, because for most of my writing journey and most of the articles that I've written, I do speak a lot about themes of desirability and loneliness and, you know, being alone in your mid-20s, the difficulties of dating when you are plus size, because we are faced with things like fat phobia and fetishes and other really gross things that are just despicable. And so I speak a lot about that. And so I guess over time I developed a sort of community of other plus size women who felt the same way that I felt in terms of how difficult it was. And so over time, I developed a kind of community of women who were able to share their stories and just talk about, you know, their fails in dating and things like that. So when I entered a relationship, I was a bit like, oh, like I almost feel bad for being public about it. But then I did it anyway, because I was like, look, I'm happy, and this will probably be like the first and only time that I'll show him and all of that kind of stuff. And the reaction, the overall reaction was really, really positive. Like it was, I wasn't expecting how positive it would be. It was lovely. But then I noticed, like, in my DMs, so I actually got 13 messages from different women. I mean, this isn't, I'm just throwing it out there. They were all white women. I had a bit of a theory about that. But yeah. And so I decided to post one of the messages that I received, which was the longest message, but they all kind of had the same kind of tone, which was, you know, I'm unfollowing you because, you know, I followed you for all of like the content about you being single and lonely and depressed and how difficult it is to be fat and single. And now you're in a relationship and it just feels like a betrayal of sorts or whatever. And so I'm unfollowing because I can't relate to you anymore. And I just remember seeing the message and the others, and I was just like, this is really wild, because it was like these women had been following me just to kind of as a like misery loves company type thing. Like you were supporting me when I was talking about how depressed and upset and lonely I felt, but now that I'm happy, it's like the support has gone. So I almost felt like a trauma mule for them. And I was just like, if you want to go, then go, because that's not the kind of support or followers that I need. Is that when you're here for the low parts, it's very insidious, because it almost feels like they are thinking, well, I'm in a really shitty situation, or I'm in a really bad situation, but you know, I feel good because at least I know that this person is in a worse situation than me. And now that I'm not in that situation, they feel bad about themselves, or even worse, and they project it onto me. And yeah, I decided to show it because I was just like, it's not cool. It's almost like the person was saying that she wanted me to break up with my boyfriend to make her feel better about herself. What do you mean? So yeah, that whole thing was just really, it was mind-boggling. It was weird. It was really weird.
Yeah. What's your theory? Why do you think that these white women in particular felt it necessary to actually message you? Because it's one thing to like think that, but to actually actively message someone and say that, so do you know what I mean, directly? Like what's your theory behind that?
I don't know. It's just like the audacity of it all, and I think definitely since the BLM protests in 2019 and the George Floyd thing, there have been a lot of white people who have been attaching themselves to blackness in some way, shape, or form, whether as an ally or a supporter, or outwardly performatively trying to say that they want to do more and listen to voices of color and things. And that's all great and stuff. But I did receive an influx of those kinds of followers, which is fine, but it almost feels like, and we see it in movies as well, where it's like whenever you have Black women in white movies or white spaces, it's like we're always the help. We're the help, or we're the best friend, or we're the friend that helps the white woman get the date, or we're the friend that the friend that helps the person do this. We don't really have any narratives or any arcs of our own. And a lot of us, especially Black activists and influencers online, we do tend to do a lot of advocacy work, helping people to love themselves and believe in themselves. And so it's almost like I've taken this role, this almost mammy type role of having to constantly reassure women of their worth and things. And it's like, now that I'm at a point where I have my worth and I'm in a relationship where I'm happy, it's almost like it's a slight to them. The same 2 days after that happened, my friend Demi, who's also Black, also had exactly the same thing happen to her when she was talking about her ADHD diagnosis and how she's now been diagnosed with it. She's 26 and she's only just been diagnosed with it. And she had a white woman come into her mention saying that she's unfollowing because Demi was privileged in getting an appointment and that white woman couldn't get an appointment. So why are you bragging about getting an appointment? And, Demi was like, she's been having issues with, attention and all of that kind of stuff for years. And so this was like a happy or a bittersweet moment for her. And she had like a lot of white women coming into her mentions telling her that she was privileged because she was able to get an appointment. And it's just like, we are the caucasity. It's like we are good. We are good for them when we are helping them. But when we want to become, or when we suddenly become the main character, it's almost like, how dare you? You're supposed to be under here.
Yeah.
Like your discomfort makes me comfortable, and now that you're not comfortable, it's like
it's almost not only that some of these people are looking and following you guys for help, it's almost so they're getting a kind of some sort of weird sensation from you being in pain. Their lives may be fucking brilliant, but because they're seeing that you're going through something, I'm pretty certain that some of them are actually getting off on the fact that you guys are in pain. And then once you're in a position of, where you feel happy and confident and, something good's happened, they're like, well, no, you don't deserve it. Why is this happening to you? I'm unfollowing you. Fuck off then. It's fine.
I feel like we need a whole show on that. We need a whole conversation about that because there's so much things I want to say, but we don't have the time. But that's a conversation. Stephanie, you will come back, cousin Stephanie. We will explore this. Trauma mule is the phrase. 100%.
That's a great phrase.
Just to come off of that for a second, and just you did mention that you're writing a book. So can you tell us what this book is going to be about? On the back of this is your second book. Tell us about your first book, and I'll tell us what this next book is going to be about. Because author goals. Go ahead.
Okay. So with the second one, it's literally very, very, very early stages. So I can't even say that much outside of it is. I'm hoping for it to be a fiction. Okay. Fiction is so hard to write. Like, I would take nonfiction over fiction any day. Like, fiction is just wow. It's very difficult. So I'm literally, when I say like early process, I mean like 1,000 words in. So it's very early. But so I'm kind of doing that. I'm still trying to figure out the story and everything like that. But I think in the next few months, once I've got like a proper synopsis, then I'll be able to speak more about it. Which would be great. I'm also trying to work on a kid's book as well. A kind of like body positive, self-love kids book with a Black girl being the main character for once when we have these conversations about body image and things. I think it's really important. And I think it's a book that I would have wanted to have read when I was very young. And so, hoping that can all go through soon. And with my first book, it's called Fattily Ever After. And it's not so much a memoir. It's kind of like a guide on where I talk about the different avenues of how plus size Black women specifically get treated. But I wrote it specifically for women in the UK, because I just didn't feel like we had that much of a voice within the body positive scope. And so I talk about everything from how we are depicted in the media, the histories. I talk about medical fat phobia. I talk about mental health and how that can sort of infiltrate, and how that can affect things like weight gain and things of that nature. So there are some scientific aspects of it as well. I talk about fashion. I talk about the future of what I want to see when it comes to plus size Black representation. So like Lizzo's got her own chapter in the book, and what I've done is it's got my experiences in it to kind of provide context to all of the theory in there. And then what I've done also is I've interviewed plus size Black women from all over the world, and they have their stories in the book, because I didn't want it to just be about my experience. I wanted it to be like a collective experience of stories from plus size women, with talking about the way in which and how differently we are treated from everybody else. Because when you intersect fatness with being Black, with being like colorism and being darker skinned, there's so many ways in which we are stereotyped and marginalized and oppressed at all of those different aspects. And when you put them all together, it's just a hot mess sometimes. And sometimes I feel like our voices are lost within all of the sort of fluffy, fairy, like body positive, pastel colored shade, Instagram posts that we see. And so I just wanted a book for Black plus size women to feel seen. And yeah, that came out a couple of years ago.
Where can we buy Fattily Ever After?
You can get it on Amazon, or if you don't want to get on Amazon, you can go to Waterstones, Foyles, and yeah, all good bookstores near you.
I was about to say all the top shutter.
I listened to it. I listened to it on Audible, and I thought you did a brilliant job. Because like sometimes, especially when it's the author, you want to hear it in their voice, and you just read it really, really well. I followed through your experiences, and yeah, I absolutely loved it. I just wanted to ask you one question. You mentioned like not being approached by Black men, and is that still like have you had that experience going on? Because your partner, he looked Black to me, but I don't know how he sees himself. But how's that experience been? Yeah.
That topic was the one I was like, do you know what? If I speak, they'll say I'm shouting. That was the topic where I was like, do you know what? I am never talking about that topic on Twitter again, because as much as I was trying to convey a really honest experience, people were calling me self-hating. People were calling me this. People were saying it was my fault that I wasn't getting approached. And it wasn't for me. So it wasn't a complaint at all. It was just me saying, I've never been approached or flirted with or, liked by a Black man. And it's not me saying like, oh, this is terrible and Black men are this. Not at all. I was literally just kind of relaying an experience. And, my preference, or I don't want to say preference, but I love Black men. And so it hurt, I think, a little to feel like people in my community didn't even find me attractive. And not only that, they would find fat women attractive, but it would be fat white women. Yeah. And that was what was like, okay, so damn. With my current partner, he's Black, he's mixed race, but he identifies as Black. So that was, he's the first person ever to find me attractive and to attractive enough to date and stuff. And it's just, it's so wonderful, and it's just the best feeling, because some of my other dates that I've had, boy, it's just a lot, like the fetishizing and the questions, and it's exhausting. So it's so comforting, and it just feels like home to date, to be with a Black man. And it took a Black man from outside of the country. I didn't necessarily divest.
I was going to ask this because I know that definitely in a lot of Caribbean countries, for example, like larger women, it's just not a problem for anybody. Like obviously everyone has their own experience. I just mean like in terms of dating and stuff like that. So I was going to ask you, like when you were speaking to these women, did they have like different stories about things like that? Was it completely the opposite from the Western world and their understanding and their understanding of what beauty is and those sort of standards? Were their stories quite different?
Yeah, do you know what? It was actually quite similar, which was sad because I would have thought that other cultures and countries would have completely opposite experiences to me. So, quite a few of the American women that I interviewed were like, "Oh yeah, we're divesting. We want to look at British men." I was like, "Sis, don't." It's probably,
that's the thing at the moment. I don't get it.
I was like, it's probably like the same here. Like, no, don't like.
Worse.
Probably even worse. And they were like so apparently like LA is like a terrible place to kind of date if you're plus size. And so so many stories from like LA and New York and just how like bad it is and how they get treated. I think there was a woman that did submit a story. She was Nigerian, I think, and she said that she gets approached quite a lot from men in Nigeria, but it always comes from a fetishizing angle. And she said about like 3 or 4 of them in their experience have asked her to wear waist trainers so that she could have an hourglass shape, because there's something about being fat, but being fat in all the right areas. So as long as you have a small waist, that kind of shape, then it seems to be a lot more acceptable, which is something that needs to that kind of way of thinking, I think, needs to die. But yeah, they were all quite similar, unfortunately, which made me really sad because I wanted hope at the time. I was like, where do you live? Like, let me come over there and see what it's like. But no, it's like for the most part, like a kind of global thing. Well, the people that I spoke to anyway.
That's interesting. Last question.
So last question, you have done some amazing things so far. Like your journey is like amazing, model, author, content maker, producer of other people, just like all of these fantastic things. What is your end goal? Like what do you think would make you be like, I've done it? I know that's quite hard because can we ever really do it? We want to keep achieving things. What thing do you think is like, where do you want to get to?
My end goal, do you know what? I have a couple, I really want to get into writing a lot more. I personally feel like I need to improve on my writing skills, especially with fiction, but I do want to come out with like a series of sci-fi books that feature mostly fat black people, like a lot of black people, like a black Harry Potter, but just like just a lot cooler. Like I love sci-fi, so I guess my goals always involve having the most diversity and like inclusivity as possible. So this might be a bit, shallow or whatever, but so since the age of like 11, I used to, like, when my mum would give me pocket money, I would spend it on buying things like Vogue and Elle and Harper's Bazaar, and I would make collages on my wall because I love fashion so much. But for the longest time, it's always been inaccessible to larger body types. And so for me, if I was to ever have my own line or like a capsule collection of plus size clothing, that's always been my end goal. Like if I was to do that, that would be like my boss level for me, is like to be able to design clothes. And just to keep writing more books.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yes, you said it.
So.
It's in existence now.
Man,
it's and everything. I don't see why not.
Thank you.
When your aunties agree, it's happening.
It's happening. And I can't read the sci-fi, and hopefully they make it into a Netflix series so I can binge watch it too.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
Okay, now it's time. We did say the last question, but it's not really. This is the bit where the aunties get in your business very quickly. It's a quick fire round. You ain't got no time to think. I'm going to ask you questions quickly. Answer. Okay. Auntie Yeki is asking you. I'm asking you. I'm Auntie Yeki. What's happening with your love life? You've explained a bit, but what is actually happening with your love life? Go.
Love life is really great. It's really cool. It's been like a month and a half now since we've been official, and I love it, and it's great. And we'll be seeing each other soon, and it's long distance, and we've known each other for 10 years, and it's all very fairy tale-ish. So yeah, I'm having a blast.
Amazing.
I love that. I love that all. I love that he doesn't live here too, but that's just my own personal thing. In terms of
Thank you.
Farah, you're next.
Oh my God! See, I was so in love with that question. So you said that you want kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you trained in looking after kids? Like, have you got kids in your life? Have you got like, nieces and nephews? And how many kids do you want if you want kids?
I don't, but I've always loved kids. I always said when I was younger that I wanted to be a mum when I was 18. Obviously, at the time, I didn't know like the social, the taboos of having kids very young, but it's always been a huge goal in my life. When I used to work at the hospital, I worked in trauma, but then I also worked in the maternity ward a bit. And I have a bit of a fascination with like childbirth and everything that comes along with it. I would like to have 2 kids. And yeah, I love looking after kids. I love them. Definitely want them.
So you told us earlier on that you're not an auntie already. Do you have siblings as well?
I do, yes.
Okay.
I've got one. Sorry?
None of them have kids yet. Are they younger, older?
Well, not yet. My brother got married a couple of months ago, so we're just waiting. Me and my mum were just like, the time is coming. And then I've got a younger half sister who lives in Ghana, and she is 13, and my brother, he's 26, and he's just gotten married. So we're just like, I'm gonna be an auntie soon, hopefully.
What type of auntie are you planning on being?
I'm going to be like the fun auntie, I think. The one that kind of plays practical jokes with the kids on my brother. I want to, do you know what? I want to be, and this is probably a really bad thing to do, but I used to watch a lot of sitcoms as a teenager, and I always think, I want to be like this sitcom character as a mom or an auntie. So in my head, I've got Jay from My Wife and Kids. That's the kind of like mom/auntie I want to be. Just very fun and very cool and laid back.
So now I feel like through this whole show, we've gotten very much closer to you. I would even go as far as say we are now your favorite aunties in the world. So since we're your favorite aunties, please tell us something that you haven't told your mum, your dad, your sister, your brother, or the closest people to you. Tell us something.
We want juicy secret.
Yeah.
Oh damn. Something that I haven't told. No, because all the things will get me in trouble, I once had an encounter with a guy who was from the Netherlands or something like that, and so basically, to cut a long story short, after the deed was done, while we were still in the same room/vicinity, he said that I asked him, how was it that he was so like wealthy and stuff, because he was always bragging about like his wealth and things, and he said that it was family money. And then I was like, okay, but so what do your family do? And then that's when he said that his great-grandparents or great-great-grandparents used to be farmers. And I was like, what kind of farmers are we talking about? They're like, farmers in Jamaica. I was like, okay, elaborate. And then that's when he said they were slave owners. And the reason that he likes to date black girls is because of his white guilt. And that was when I was like, okay, you need to get out. This was I didn't know anything about him. It was a very quick, meeting. And that was when I was like, is this my life? I'm literally sleeping with colonizers. Is this what I'm doing, Steph? I had to reevaluate my whole dating strategy. I was just like, because at the time, like my dating has always been very unsuccessful. So I always would just go out with people that liked me. Even if I didn't like them, I was proper settling because I was just going where the love is. Like, I just didn't really know myself at the time. So whoever showed interest, I was like, oh, I feel validated. Let's go out, kind of thing. And so that was, I
wasn't expecting that,
I wasn't expecting it. Moving on.
It.
Now you've said that.
I don't know how I can move on from all of that.
Wow.
Oh,
okay, because of his white guilt.
This is why men shouldn't talk. They shouldn't talk.
Ever.
This is why they shouldn't talk.
Let's move on.
He's farmers.
on the back of that, let's make the
People
family proud.
farmers. Sorry.
No, stop. We've got to move on. We've got to move on. Let's make the family proud. Let's redeem yourself. Redeem yourself, woman. Make us proud. Tell us your biggest achievement, please, quickly. Tell us your
my biggest achievement is definitely my book. It was a very tough thing to write, and very emotional, very cathartic. So that was one of my biggest achievements. Also, being the first Black plus size woman on the front cover of Glamour magazine. That was a huge achievement for me, because it was something that I always used to read as a child and never saw any like Black or dark-skinned Black people, any fat people on the front cover. So to be asked to be the first was a full circle moment for me, and I felt very proud.
Oh, well done. You've redeemed yourself.
You've redeemed yourself. He, however, will never.
That was wild.
You didn't even have to say that. That's the thing.
He could have lied.
He could have lied.
You know what I mean?
It was pride, guys. We got to sit in the pride.
Sorry,
Jeez. Is it me? It's me, isn't it? Tell us a family saying that you heard growing up that you hold absolutely dear to you, or that you 100% reject.
A family saying. Damn. We don't really have any family sayings.
I'll give you an example just to help you. My mum always says, your life is like an egg. If you drop it, you can never pick it up. And it's something that I always used to say in my head, but you can pick up eggs. But I don't know what she meant, but I always had a sassy remark in my head. It's those type of family sayings that either you carry with you or you just like.
My gran had a saying, and she said, your business is brown as a top. What that means, I don't know. Because whose business is brown and what top is it topping? I don't know. But what she meant is that just relax yourself, basically, or don't stress out by everything, or listen to what I say. It could cover so many different things, but
yeah. Okay. So it's not necessarily a saying, but I guess it's kind of like a thing that my grandmother and my mum kind of instilled in me, and I keep it very dear until now, is to never rely on a man financially.
Hey, have your money.
Yeah, and always be financially independent as a woman. And watching my grandmother and my mother both be so strong and so independent, and like being able to, really work hard and stuff, really really drilled that into me. And so I've become very proud when it comes to things like finances and like not wanting to like ever borrow money from people or things like that. I just feel really like it's fine to do it, but I think because it's been drummed into me, it's always like I always have to have a backup to the backup kind of thing. And so my mom really pushed the importance of financial independence.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
All right, so we have come to the part where we solve your problem or we give you unsolicited advice. Which one would you like to go for?
Could I have unsolicited advice?
Wow. I swear everybody always goes for this. Nobody ever has a problem for her.
I was really trying to think of a problem, but I was just like, I mean, the only problem that I can think of, like, is that really weighs heavy on my mind is that I know that I'm really stubborn. I would one day like to buy a house. I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'll probably be renting for the rest of my life. But I want to buy a house within zone 2 of London under 500k. That's 4 bedrooms. I do not want to pay more than 5 or maybe 450, and I'm just finding it difficult. I'm looking in Streatham, I'm looking in Tooting, and because I'm a South London babe, and that's it. I want it restricted to South London. Yeah, I want it restricted to South London only.
And zone 2?
At zone 1 or 2. I could do a zone 3.
Zone 1 even is South London even zone 1?
Yeah.
Victoria.
Victoria.
Oh yeah, I suppose so.
When I
don't really.
Yeah, so I currently live in zone 1 at the moment. Pardon?
I've got advice.
Yeah,
it's zone 2
or zone 1, 2. 9 Elms is zone 1 now, apparently.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so
they're just mixing it up now, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's nice now. It's nicer.
Yeah, but that's my problem. Like South London, maximum zone 3 maybe, but not Southeast London.
I'm gonna be
No, because I can't be doing up Jubilee line. I'm sorry. Going to Greenwich from Southwest London is a mission. I'd rather go to Barcelona. It takes less time. It takes less time. I can't be doing Jubilee line. I can't do Blackheath because I know that houses are cheaper there, but it's because it's in the middle of nowhere.
It's still not 500.
Cousin Steph, you're out of order. You come to make us answer.
You said, yeah. The only thing I can think of is a crack house.
I was going to say the same thing. House or a house that's out.
Stockwell Park Estate or something, or Mikesfield.
Not even there. Stockwell Park Estate is expensive now.
Yeah.
I was making bank there, 100%.
Really? Because I can do Dulwich, I can do like Herne Hill, I can do West Norwood.
You said Dulwich with no break.
West Dulwich, even West Dulwich.
No.
Huh? But there are no houses under 500k. There must be.
No. What you're gonna get is see them craters that they used to build.
No, I can't.
What's it called? Box Park.
That's what you containers. Yeah, you need to build a house. That's doable.
You can stick through them on top of each other. You need to look at the land that you're gonna get. It's gonna be a sliver.
Yes. You need to find. You need to go back and watch Grand Designs and look at when they built the containers, the houses, because
that's
amazing.
Yeah. They look amazing. No, seriously. Or actually, you know what you can do from Europe? You can buy these houses that come flat packed.
I've been doing up IKEA.
You find a plot of land, and you can buy a house that comes flat pack, and they come and they build it for you. It takes them about 10 days.
I think it's a tent thing. It's a tent.
It's a tent. Like a yurt.
No, like there's studios built like that as well. Like they come flat pack. Trust me, they're
really.
Can I just say? Can I?
I'll send you the link.
Can I just say? You asked us to solve your problem. What I want to do is some unsolicited auntie advice. Can you lower your chest? Lower your chest, please.
Sorry, can you explain to her, to the room, what it is that you want, and then talk about lower chest?
Wait, hold on. This is not about me.
When you started talking, it was very reminiscent of conversations that I have with Auntie AK about her wanting to live. Yes.
Like wanting to live in West London in a 4-bed house for like 500,000.
Yes.
It's containers.
Together.
It's containers.
Cousin Steph, we'll talk about this offline, but in public, and let me tell you, reduce your chest, okay? It's enough. It's enough already.
I can't. Like, I cannot move out of South London. I can't. I can't do it.
I feel you, man. Stay in South.
And I can say, hand on heart, I will never live in South London ever again.
That's okay.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
You love what you love. It's totally fine. You love what you love, isn't it?
Okay, guys.
Red Border, comment has just given a sensible suggestion to go to auction and try and get a fix me upper.
Oh, that's true. Yes, I forget about that.
Yeah, a house that used to be a crack house, and you're good to go.
Yeah,
I can do a crack house.
Yeah.
I can fix it up. Yeah.
What if no, babe?
Can we get the comments?
I mean, it might take 10 years.
I'm going to get palpitations.
No.
You can do that.
The ghost of crack was passed. No, thank you.
So, what's going to happen, Stephanie, is you're going to write your second book, and it's going to be a bestseller. It's going to be on Oprah's list. What's going to happen is
claim it in Jesus' name.
That's what's going to happen, and you don't have to have restrictions. You can get whatever you want. Okay, that's
thank you. We claim it in Jesus' name.
We claim it. Yes,
that's the auntie's word. Let's get the couple of comments that did come in before Red Border.
Okay, cool. So Natalie was saying, I don't know why people tell you they're following. They're following with a big explanation. Why? Seriously, just leave quietly. Amen. 100%. Exactly. And Shelley says that I was slim until I had my daughter. She is slim and got slim shamed for years in her 20s. This seems to be on the rise, in my opinion, like slim shaming for real. And Victoria said, should not laugh, but that plantation guilt story is an episode of
Absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah. No, it was very wild.
Stephanie, we're not getting rid of you, but just want to say thank you for your time and your honesty and your open heart and your warm spirit. Cousin Stephanie, you fit with the aunties. Thank you very much for your time. That was wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Before we go into it, we got sad, mad, glad. Auntie Stephanie, no, Coven Stephanie, so I've got it written. Auntie, what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week? Do you have anything for us?
Yes, so something that has made me glad, bit of a personal one, my Valentine's gift, just because it was my first ever one and it made me feel really lovely. Something that made me mad was watching, I don't know if you guys are watching Love is Blind on Netflix, and it's angering me because I think the first season, a lot of people were saying that there's not a lot of diversity with regards to like bigger bodies and other kind of bodies. And so what they did for this season is they brought in 2 plus size women, gave them no airtime, and then brought in 2 plus size women who were big, but then they shrunk down. And now it's kind of doing this narrative as if in order to find love, you need to lose a lot of weight. And there's just a lot of fat phobia on the show, not really appreciating that. And then something that made me sad, which again is like another random personal one, is there's a local like street bakery in my area that's closing down. And it's sad because I could get 5 donuts for £1. And now they're closing down. It's in Clapham Junction. And I'm just like, it's devastating.
I'm
so
They
do the best bakery ever.
When are they closing? Because my family lives in Clapham Junction. I could run and get some.
I think like end of March. They're on Northcote Road. So I'm just like, yeah, that made me a bit sad.
Thank you. Auntie Clara, what's made you sad, mad, and glad this week?
I am glad to be back with the ladies and to have cousin Stephanie. I'm glad to be back here. I'm sad to be back here because having been in Grenada, everything aside of what I had to do. And what's made me mad? The fucking weather. That's what's making me real angry right now. Like, I have been so hot for the last like over 4 weeks to the point where I'm wearing like hardly any clothes every day. And then I've had to come back here and I've got layers on. I've got to put the heating on in my car, like the seats. I've got to put the heating on my house. And I'm so conscious of the stupid gas bill at the moment that I'm having to turn it down, put blankets on and wear my dressing gown in the house. It's just, so I'm just mad at the climate, basically.
Auntie Nana.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sad because I was feeling, well, I still am. I'm kind of out of sorts. I'm not in peak Auntie Nana mode at this moment. It could be seasonal sad.
Blues.
Yeah, it could be the seasonal blues. I don't know. But yeah, I'm a bit off of my normal vibe. So I really do feel like I need to go on one of those silence retreats. Like, you know, when you go away, you don't talk for like 14 days. I feel like I need one of those. I'm mad at the prices going up on everything. It's just my weekly spending budget, which I'm terrible at sticking at anyway, is just all over the place and it's really pissing me off. And today it got announced that they're putting up transport by 5%. And it's like we're not getting paid anymore. Like, literally, what are we supposed to do? So yeah, that's really pissed me off. And I'm super glad. I got so emotional watching Little Sims and her mum go up for Little Sims to get her award, and just how happy her mum was. It really made me think I had these mad dreams of winning an Oscar, being the first Black woman to win an Oscar for directing a movie. And I always had my mum being there, like being like, yeah, I always wanted her to do this, like blatantly lying. But I wanted that moment, like my mum would be there, like, yeah, she did it. So yeah, as I was watching them, I was just like, oh, I can imagine her heart. That must just be so beautiful for them to experience that. So yeah, that gave me pure joy.
Lovely. Auntie Sade.
So my sad is that my good friend India has moved back. She was based in the UK for like 3 years and she's moved back to the US. And I'm just really sad. I'm like really happy for her, but I'm really sad for myself. Do you know what I mean? Because, you know, she's my buddy and we used to just do random stuff and have random experiences, which I won't go into. We'll go on a normal night out, just something random will happen. And but I guess she's only a flight away, so you know, can make that happen. I'm mad at Euphoria TV show. I'm not going to give everything away, but like fucking hell is it depressing at times. Like Jesus, like I really just wanted to bang it out and watch all 2 series, and I just had to keep taking breaks because I was just like, this is really bringing me down. And whole theories about the director and what he's trying to do, but we'll get into that another day. And I'm glad because, as I said at the top of the show, I've done a really big pitch today with my girls, Dana and Beverly. And even if it doesn't go well, I'm just happy that I've done it because it was for a fantastical amount of money, and I've never pitched that much in my life. And yeah, I think I'm just happy that because I wasn't going to do it, as I said before, and I changed my mind and we got it done. And yeah, sometimes it is, as I often say, like, feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah, isn't that right?
Excellent,
amazing.
What's made me mad is that we can't just have sad, I should say, is that we can't just have nice things. My case in point was the NFL, the Super Bowl halftime. I just wanted to enjoy it without having the politics at the back of my mind. And I hate that so many things in life we can't just enjoy because there's always a thing attached to the thing of enjoyment. So that made me sad. And also now I'm sad because cousin Stephanie is talking about the donut shop in Clapham Junction. That means I might just fast forward myself down to Clapham Junction, all the donuts before the shop closed. So I'm really sad that I've heard this location. I'm mad because I lost my phone adapter for my headphones on my phone. Now listen, tech people, can you allow it? One port, one thing. You don't need to merge them all. I do not need, and I don't have to have wireless headphones. I am old school. I like my little plug-in headphones. Let me have my plug-in hole. Do not make the same hole, the charger hole, and then you change the shape. So now I have to have an adapter. I've lost my adapter from going to the gym. It dropped somewhere. Now I have to go and buy another one. You lot like to keep taking money out of my pocket for no reason. And on the top of that, at Auntie Sade, I'm not having it. And then on the top of that,
I'm just like, because you want to live in the past. We're in the future now.
And what else is making me mad? Apple, and on the top of that, Apple laptop chargers. You don't need to have the bum bit. You don't.
Yes.
You just need to be a freaking plug. Why is it too fit? That then you have to make sure the plug is high enough to fit into the wall. You don't have that space. It comes apart and it drops every minute. Why? You don't need it. It just needs to be a plug.
Agreed.
And also, I'm now glad that someone sent me a link to a YouTube video of what was it? Oh God, I forgot it was. What rave was it?
It was
Sun City at Hippodrome. Sorry, my bad, my brain. Someone said a nostalgia video. It was 1998. I'm not sure if we were at that particular rave, but it was definitely a time when we was raving up to garage. And it was just a memory lane. I saw a few faces that I recognized. And the music, I was jamming whilst doing my work, watching it. It was fantastic. And then I went down a rabbit hole and found another jungle rave that most definitely Auntie Farah and I were most probably at. And it was just fun to go down memory lane. And I had a really good old time. So that made me glad. And finally, Auntie, cousin Stephanie, can you tell us what's your unpopular opinion, what's on your hit list, or something that pisses you off that you want to get out into the world?
What is an unpopular opinion? I don't see the thing. I don't know if it's unpopular, but I guess it could be seen as unpopular with some of today's generation, maybe. This kind of secure the bag feminism, I'm not a big fan of. I am not a fan of women, or I guess for the most part, always trying to get bags or Hermes bags from men, or if a man doesn't pay for this, then it means that he's this and that kind of thing. I'm not the biggest fan, I guess, because I've always been taught, like, financial independence is so important, but kind of relying on a man to fund a lifestyle kind of goes against everything that feminism is about, to me anyway. I don't think there's anything empowering about having a lifestyle funded by a man, because there's like the whole control element that can sometimes come into it, and the disrespect, and also, we've been fighting for a very long time for us to be able to have the right to work and to make our own decisions and stuff. So for me, it feels like it kind of sets feminism a bit back when I hear, a lot of these stories of, oh, my man did this, and, he takes me to Hakkasan or Sexy Fish or whatever, and if he doesn't do this, then, I like my man to buy me nice things. And I don't know. I don't tend to talk about that a lot because I guess people will do whatever they want to do. But for me, it's just like, just make your own money. Like, there's a lot of pride in being able to do that these days. So that's a bit of an unpopular, maybe with some circles it might be, but
I feel you.
Yeah.
That's that on that, and we will leave it there. I know that would take a long conversation out of us. However, we must go, we must dash. Thank you, cousin Stephanie, for your time.
Yes.
We really appreciate you. Oh, before you go, can you let us know where we can follow you and get into all your business?
Oh, yes. So you can follow me on Instagram, which is instagram.com/Stephanie Yeboah, which is YEBOAH, and also my website, stephanieyeboah.com.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. This has been your Aunties Could Never. Please don't forget to follow us on all the social media platforms. And you can watch us back on Facebook and YouTube. And you can listen to our episodes on all the most popular listening platforms. And don't forget to leave your reviews, your likes, and your comments, and positive ones, please. And that's it. That was your Aunties Could Never. I'm Auntie AK.
I don't know why you always do this.
I want you guys to pick up and say bye at the same time.
I was to jump in.
I was going to, but I was on mute, and then Auntie Sade said what she said, but I was actually thinking that.
Oh,
Really? That's why I was on mute. I was on mute, and she said that, and I thought, oh, this is not right. But then,
I feel like we should all say bye again. So, I'm Auntie AK.
I'm Auntie Farah.
I'm Auntie Nana.
And I'm Auntie Sade.
And cousin Stephanie.
And cousin Steph.
Bye. Good night.
Bye.
What the hell?